everyone, and welcome back to another edition of On Campus. I am Sheena from thesportsreportgirl.com, here with my weekly review of the top stories from the college gridiron. So, it's official. Lane Kiffin, the head coach at the University of Tennessee, definitely has a pair. We know this because Monday morning he kicked Newke's Richardson and Mike Edwards off his team for their involvement in an attempted armed robbery the week before. A third player, Jansen Jackson, is still awaiting his fate. The victims identified Richardson and Edwards as the two men who attempted the robbery, while the third man, presumably Jansen, approached moments later and told them they had to leave. Police later arrested the three players along with a woman driver outside the freshman dormitory. Richardson, you may recall, was the prize recruit that Kiffin landed, having accused Urban Meyer of tampering with him while he was visiting Tennessee last winter. In hindsight, I'm sure Coach Kiffin would admit that everything to do with Newke's has just been a big mistake. In other news, Rodriquez's seat at Michigan is starting to heat back up. Before the season began, allegations were leveled against Rich Rod for working his players beyond the allowable 20-hour limit per week. Then the Wolverines went 4-0 to start the season. The grumblings shifted to cheers, and everything seemed like it would be a distant memory by year's end. But then Michigan has lost 6 of its last 7, and wouldn't you know it, the grumblings are back. Now it is being reported that the football program failed to submit any of their monthly forms tracking the practice hours of their players. The issue is currently under investigation by the NCAA. That, paired with all the losses, spells big trouble for Rodriquez. If they get embarrassed by Ohio State this week, don't be surprised if the administration decides to cut bait and head in a different direction. As for this week's schedule, here are the big games I'll be keeping my eyes on, like UConn at Notre Dame. This game really doesn't mean anything in terms of the college football landscape, but it means everything to Charlie Weis and his employment status. With a win, he may still be able to salvage his job by upsetting Stanford next week, but a loss means he will surely be fired at year's end. Also, there is Oregon at Arizona. This game will most likely determine the Pac-10 champion. With a win, Oregon will have the edge with only rival Oregon State left on their schedule. Not an easy task, as the Beavers are currently ranked number 19 in the country and only have 2 losses in conference. As for the Wildcats, a win over Oregon would give them the tiebreak advantage over Stanford, Oregon, and Oregon State. And let's not forget about the other big game in the Pac-10, which is Cal at Stanford. With 3 losses, the Golden Bears are out of the running for the conference title, but would like nothing more than to redeem themselves by playing the role of spoiler against the Cardinal. And finally, we have Ohio State at Michigan. As far as rivalries go, none are bigger than this. Even Tom Brady, preparing last week to face his arch nemesis Peyton Manning and the Colts, admitted that game paled in comparison to Michigan-Ohio State. And though on paper the Wolverines don't look to have a chance against the Buckeyes, all bets are off in rivalries. Look for a close, exciting game decided in the final minutes. Either that or Ohio State blows them off by halftime. Okay, guys, that is it for this week, but be sure to check out my daily rants at thesportsreportgirl.com and truefan.com. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter. See you next week. Bye-bye.